All right. Welcome to the last session of the day. And as usual, we're trying to struggle to get people in here. We're going to start off with a little movie, and then I'll say a few words.
Information around the world is going digital and it's exploding with the internet from a reach perspective. And so we want to be able to understand how customers and how cloud computing users can use this technology to get their information out to a much wider audience at a very low price. I'd like to issue you the challenge of having to build a scalable web application that's going to scale to millions of users down to hundreds of users for stored video content as well as live video content. I look forward to your response and understanding how not only it's going to scale architecturally and technically, but also how that affects the cost. This team was able to showcase is that you can actually prototype the solution. So not only do they have wireframes and theoreticals, but they actually went and put it into practice and tried it out. I think that's what differentiated their solution and proposal from some of the others.
All right. So thank you for coming. And hi, my name is Joe-Coyle. I'm North American CTO for Capgemini. And what you saw there is Capgemini runs a reality show in India. It's actually one of the most watched reality shows in India. And for season 2, AWS was nice enough to be one of not only the judges, but issue the challenge. This show is still going on live. You can see it online. And we're not quite sure who the winner is yet, but I want to thank AWS for letting us do that. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to be on stage for another minute, and I'm going to get off. What we like to do is talk about what we've done with clients. And just to frame it up, you've heard a lot about platform this year. Platform this, platform that. Everyone's building platforms. Well, we did the same thing, except we did it about 4 years ago on top of AWS. And what we like to do today is not talk so much about the platform, although we'll give you a little bit of information. We want to talk to you about what we're doing with the clients, both what the challenges are and what the experiences are and where the successes are in that area. And we're going to do that based on certain verticals we work on, things like mobility, things like SAP, so on and so forth. So without further ado, I'll call up the first speaker, Tom Vaca.
Thanks, Joe. So my name is Tom Vaca, and I lead our architecture and operations group for our Capgemini Complete platform. Let's go through a couple things here. And just going back to the super techies, I suggest everybody, if you have some time, there's, I don't know how many episodes are there, 20 or so episodes that are out there on YouTube, and most of the speakers that are here today actually participated as either a judge or a mentor in it, so it was a fun experience. So anyway, so Capgemini, we have developed a platform called Complete, which stands for Cloud Orchestration Management Platform end-to-end. And really what it is, it's an abstraction layer sitting on top of Amazon Web Services, who provides the infrastructure as a service, and also provides a managed service as well on top of it, so that we take the complexities out of the design and provisioning of the Amazon components and make it look and feel like it's an extension of your data center, and you get all the things that you would normally want to see from an enterprise operation. So with that, we help customers both with the strategy as far as designing the solution, taking a look at their application needs from a top-down approach, and coming up with a solution that makes sense and fits their SLA as well as cost-effective. And what we take care of from a complete standpoint is everything sitting above the infrastructure layer from a management level. So for management of the server, the storage, the network component side of it, setting up the high availability, adding any service management and automation to it, taking care of any of the security and the compliance needs, as well as providing more detailed reports around the usage and accounting, really enabling customers to do some more detailed chargeback mechanisms to their business units. So from complete, so we sit on top of Amazon and provide that service, but really what we're creating is a platform for enterprise applications to run. So we work with a number of our service lines within Capgemini, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with it. It's a very large company. We have big in the ERP space with SAP and Oracle, as well as mobility, our BIM practice, as well as supply chain. And we work closely with these teams that are implementing solutions today in a very typical on-premise manner, but to be able to design them and migrate them to a cloud environment, so they look and feel the same way they did on site, but provide a lot more advantages from, the ability to scale up and down, the ability to shut things down when they're not using, to really gain those cost savings there. So we're working with them to develop templates for SAP applications, for Oracle applications, and mobility applications, so that we can shorten the time to deploy. So it's not just the infrastructure side of this, but also going up the application stack. So, within days or within a week's time, projects can get started where, we're just not deploying a server, but we're deploying an application that's ready for more custom configuration. And then with that, layered on top of that, we also have application management services, so we can manage the full end-to-end process, as well as testing abilities to test the performance differences that maybe you saw on-premise, and can it perform the same way in the cloud? So what's inside from a complete standpoint? Everything from the design. So designing that solution, designing what the network is going to look like. How am I going to extend my data center? How am I going to extend my network into a VPC within the cloud, whether it's through a VPN or through a direct connect? And then with that, also setting up of what the network needs to look like. What subnets, what needs to be within a DMZ, what private subnets are required. Do they need to be split between availability zones? And then starting and working with the customers to develop those operating system templates, to create gold images out of those to meet all your same hardening standards that you would internally, but then also creating other templates that actually include the application software, so that we can deploy those in a very quick manner. So once we get beyond the provisioning of this, it's all the management that you would normally need. So it needs to be monitored. We leverage CloudWatch as well as our own monitoring solutions. It needs to be patched in the same way. Just because it's in the cloud, it doesn't mean you don't have to do all the, all the normal service management that you would normally do on premise. So patch management, backups, and you need to orchestrate that in a way so that it could be automatically provisioned, it could be expanded easily and quickly. And we provide this all as a all-encompassing service. We resell AWS infrastructure, component resources. We just pass those through at cost. And then we provide a very a usage-based management ability right on top of that. So in the end, what it could look like from the customer prem, you don't know that it's certain resources are running in the cloud. It's an extension of your network. There's a VPC within Amazon for the solution, and then we connect our complete service management tools in order to provide that ongoing management of that environment. So we've done this for a number of customers for their example for their SAP environments, certain non-production landscapes, whether it's for development or test or training, and we've really seen some great results as far as the reduced cost in moving them to the cloud, where it really becomes a turn it on and off when you're not using it. From the other side, we've also done a number of things in the mobility area that we'll talk about later, and we've taken this. Excuse me. No. So we've taken this and really made it an enabling platform. So we've been creating a catalog of different application templates, so we can do quick start projects with customers to get your projects off the ground, where we're not just starting off installing software and you're not paying somebody to sit there and load CDs. So it's taken it to the point where a good portion of the configuration is done. And really with Complete, we've taken that and extended that, so it's just not managing an enterprise application such as an ERP, but also if you have an application that you want to turn into more of a SaaS model. So we've leveraged the same platform and the same technology and taken that next to the next layer to enable to create a SaaS-like feel for a regular application. And I want to bring up Dharmesh, who's one of our senior architects, who's going to walk us through a use case on how we did this.
Thanks, Tom. Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everybody's having a great conference. I enjoyed the last one. This one seems to be even better. So Tom just mentioned we have a complete platform, sorry. We have a complete platform which gives us a end-to-end managed infrastructure on top of what AWS provides us, just bare metal basically. And what Amazon also gives us facility with the rich API is to build on top of that. So here's one of the use cases we did. One of our large customers, a software maker, they had a software that was really built for on-prem purposes, just sell it to customers on-prem. However, they're looking for making it available faster, make it available easily for evaluation to push the market. The competition was also pushing them to do that. But there's no way of doing that on-premise. They didn't have expertise, infrastructure, or know-how. So what we did is we took the use case and basically we said, okay, we have a platform. We know how to automate. We can help you. Additionally, they were looking for all the things that AWS would provide that would be very difficult to go with any other infrastructure provider, right? If you go to your vanilla hosting providers, you're limited globally. Maybe they're not available everywhere. They have very limited automation capability. And to get into the business with them, you have to go for long-term contracts, right? So they didn't want any of that. For simple reason, right? If you don't have to, why? AWS was perfect fit. There was no CapEx involved. No long-term contracts involved. And basically, capacity was not an issue, right? They didn't have to put in an order to get more capacity and wait 3 months for it to be provided. So we basically said that, okay, you write a portal, SaaS portal for yourself, easy enough, right? Millions of tools out there, can be churned in no time, and we'll take over all the complexity on the backside. And we'll provide you with a REST API that you can just say, create a trial, and we'll take care of creating everything on the background, right? We use, on the back end, we use all the tools that Tom just mentioned to provision the instances. We use all the tools that Amazon provides, like CloudFormation, Route 53, SES, obviously EIPs, storage and EC2s. And we basically deploy a whole environment for their on-prem solution. But everything gets exposed as a SaaS model to the customer. They would never know what's going on in the background. And it gets quite complex from the solution perspective. The CloudFormation script does quite a bit of advanced stuff because there's involvement of multiple servers that are launched in the background, and things like private IPs, for example, are not available. So the fact that we could do all of that with AWS was just not possible with if you had an in-house VMware cloud, for example. So a little bit about the API. What this also gave us an opportunity to do is create a framework for an API. So we created a barebone API framework, which we can use to give customers more capabilities for doing similar use cases. If they had a software, we already have all the bare bones to do all the underneath stuff like launch instances, configure software, provision any shared services, configure the tools, so all of that automatically happens. It auto-registers to monitoring, for example, to our patching tool, all the components Tom just mentioned in his presentation. So we have developed a API on the background to do a rapid start of similar projects. It was a great use case. Currently, I think Hosian is going to talk about that a little bit. But you can go to a portal and sign up for a trial. You get a 30-day trial. Everything gets provisioned in the background automatically via our API. And you just basically sign up for a production. The migration to production happens automatically. And if you don't sign up for production, everything gets decommissioned automatically. So this is a great use case to say it probably wouldn't be possible without Amazon, without a lot of work. AWS does give those tools that we could do all of this in, I would say real work was about 2 months. Long pole in the tent was really the contract and the business agreements. Technical part was made quite simple with the AWS. With that, I would like to introduce George. He's from our SAP service line. He's going to talk about some of our offerings. I can't. There's a feedback.
So, good evening. My name is George Steele. I'm part of the SAP service line. And I've been focused in on SAP accounts and prospects going back to 1996. And I was with SAP for a little more than 13 years in various sales roles. And for the last 3 years, I've been focused in on supporting our clients with something called OnePath. And this is when we take the SAP license and we bundle it with some of our services. And so for some accounts, they have a challenge, and for some accounts that challenge is cash flow, or a requirement to treat the project as a pure operating expense all the way through. And so one of the benefits of OnePath is we can literally take the SAP license, the related maintenance, all of the services that are involved that are relevant to that particular opportunity, and we can finance it and put it in a model to where it'll be literally a single monthly payment over a 72-month term, if you will, and we can treat it as a pure capital expense with financing or an operating expense. Either way, the pricing is exactly the same, the cost of capital is the same. The difference being at the end of the term, with an OpEx model, we turn a contractual switch and it turns into a perpetual license. And of course, the accounting treatment for an OpEx. So that's the first key benefit, if you would, from a OnePath perspective. The second is complexity. And so I'm going to show on the next slide some of the ways that we're able to take complexity out of the SAP solution. And it's kind of a classic example. You may have an account that is in love with the SAP solution. They may feel like the best practices perfectly align with their business, broader functionality, deeper functionality, but they may feel like they're not able to purchase SAP because they don't have within their own company, their employees don't have the ability to operate and run SAP. And so one of the things I'll share with you on the next slide is how we can help them with that. So that's the second key benefit of OnePath. And the third is probably consistent of most accounts that are out there. Once they make the decision they want to move quickly, they want it to be efficient, and they want it to be high value. And the last data point I wanted to share is that we're seeing with our accounts that go the OnePath method, we're seeing positive cash flow from their perspective by month 4 after go live. And so if you think of the implementation duration as being, say, 6 months, and you add these additional 4 months, what we're really talking about is from month 10 all the way to month 72 having a positive cash flow. So truly having phase 1 pay for phase 1. So from a graphical perspective, this is the OnePath offering. And so we can license just about every piece of software that SAP makes. And we can do it again as a traditional CapEx model approach or an OpEx model approach. And what allows us to do this, where it really starts, is with our portfolio licensing agreements. So from a North American perspective, we literally have 9 different agreements that allow us to uniquely match the solution to the account's requirements. And there's more on the way. I'm going to table the implementation pillar or tower, if you will, to the next slide. And I think the guys just took you through in pretty good detail the infrastructure stack. So you've got a pretty good handle on complete. From a run perspective, here what we're talking about doing is literally marrying or integrating classic application management with SAP's license maintenance. And so CAP can provide all 3 levels of license maintenance support, the 3rd level, of course, in coordination with SAP development. And then we can wrap around classic application management services like ticketing, help desk, how-to questions, and the ability to, after go live, to continue to tweak the solution with light configuration. The last pillar is pretty unique to some clients. And let me define it first, and then we'll talk about that uniqueness. So here we're talking about having Capgemini employees literally use the software on behalf of the licensee for finance, procurement, HCM, or Afaria, SAP's mobility device management product. And what's unique is if finance or procurement or HR, BPO is a part of the solution, it's a characteristic of what the account is looking for, Capgemini can literally, contractually commit to the client's business case. And this is my last slide. Next we'll bring up Dorman, but I have a couple of comments I wanted to make regarding Capgemini's SAP certified solutions. So on this slide, wherever you see the term path, we're talking about verticals, whether it be a micro vertical or what have you. And then wherever you see edge, we're really talking about a solution that is more horizontal in nature. And so what we're doing, whether it's edge or path, is we're starting with SAP's best business practices for let's take CPG path, for instance. And then we're further adding additional configuration, IP, to where we're able to implement it very quickly, very compelling scope. And in many cases, we've got micro verticals. And again, if we take CPG, for example, for food, beverage, durable goods, cosmetics, and fashion as well, frankly. And so this is our go-to-market. This is something that greatly benefits our accounts and is something that we're doing in a big way globally. So our accounts are benefiting from that perspective as well. We're continuing, just like a pharmaceutical company, adding to this pipeline of certified solutions, and we're continuing to enhance these solutions. So these are examples of what we've got from a back office perspective. But we've also added to these solutions mobility, what we call BIM, which is the Bob J products, HANA Analytics, etc. So with that, Dorman, do you want to walk us through the next analytics page and section?
Hi, I'm Dorman Bazell with Capgemini. I run the North American Analytics and Big Data practice for what we call BIM, or Business Information Management. So in my practice, we do two things. One, we take advantage of all the hard work that these guys do for us, all the provisioning. Second thing we do is we talk a lot about big data. And when we talk about big data, we're talking about the traditional volume, velocity, and variety of data. And what the big data conversation has allowed us to understand is that what clients are really interested in is driving value out of that big data, out of the analytics, looking for insights, looking for ways to improve their internal processes, whether it's go to market with their customers, sell more products. So what we've done is, in BIM, we've actually created two complementary products. The first one is the AWS platform, which we call Elastic Analytics. And it is a provisioned environment where we can actually leverage the value of customer data, work with clients to understand and bring in their data, create a data model, create a set of analytics and dashboards, operational types of reports, or even advanced analytics on top of that platform. And we bring that into this environment. It's fully provisioned, as these gentlemen have talked about. We already have some solutions out there already, that analytic solutions as well as integration tools to push the data into both S3 and into the Redshift platform. So when we start talking about this, how do we drive value out of this data, right? So first of all, it's a conversation around a reduced total cost of ownership, right? The data warehouses today are growing large from customer data. The infrastructures to support the ability to drive analytics, to drive value, are growing. What Amazon allows us to do is allows us to reduce that total cost and bring it down to a level where we can drive information into the platform and then drive analytics out of it. So a lot of these points have already been touched on. What I'll talk about is the fourth bullet point on the problem side here. And that's really the second solution that we bring to market with this, and that is a data optimization. So what we're trying to do with data optimization is be able to put a wrapper around the AWS, the Elastic Analytics, right? Again, data warehouses are are huge. The infrastructure, the cost required to support those data warehouses, right? It's only getting bigger. And the rule of thumb with an analytics platform is that you typically are only using 5 to 10% of the data to drive value back into your organization. So the rest of it is sitting there dormant, unused. So what data optimization does is it allows you to take a look at your complete set of data across your enterprise and be able to understand what part of that data, whether it's big data or whether it's your traditional data warehouse data, how can you integrate that data? What data is important to you? What kind of value are you trying to drive back into the organization? The Amazon, our Elastic Analytics platform, allows you to pull those sets of data into the AWS framework and then be able to create analytics on top of that platform. So, for example, we've done a couple of interesting things with this. One is with a POC environment, right? We give customers the ability to go in and play with some new technologies. We've had customers who want to just go and look at the difference between a Bobj and a HANA and a MicroStrategy and a Tableau solution. So they want to understand which one of these, I want to do a comparison of capabilities with these tools. So you spin it up, they do their proof of concept, and then they spin it down and it goes away. Other customers who want to take advantage of month-end closing, where they have a very elastic platform that they can push data into, run their analytics at the month-end, run their month-end close, and then shut it down. Other customers who are interested in taking a look at some of the solution platforms we provide, like predictive asset maintenance, where we've worked with the organization to understand their data, understand a data model, and then be able to create a standard set of dashboards and analytics that are produced from this platform. And again, talked about a little bit of this already around some of the use cases. One use case I didn't mention, which is a little bit interesting, we've also had a couple of clients who are interested in cleansing their customer master data. We have one client who has about 300 million customer records and about 60 million actual warm bodies who are their customers. So what we're doing is we're doing some sampling. We're pushing that data into the AWS platform. At some point, what we'll do is we'll understand what are the different characteristics and dynamics of that customer data. How do we identify that unique customer? We'll push all of that data into the Elastic Analytics platform. We'll run the cleansing algorithms, and then at some point be able to take that data. We may carve off, do some marketing campaigns around that data, take some of that data and push it back into the operational systems and perform a full flush and cleansing of their customer master data. So, Hossein, why don't you come on up?
Pardon. Can you hear me? Okay. So, good afternoon. My name is Jose Mendez, and I would like to talk to you about how actually AWS has changed the game for us on the mobile space. Is this good now? Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, let me quickly repeat. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Jose Mendez. I'm from the mobile team, and I would like to talk to you about how actually Amazon changed the mobility game for us. So as I mentioned, I'm from the mobile team. I'm the Global Chief Mobile Technology Architect for Capgemini on the mobile space. What you're seeing right now here is actually our is our enterprise framework. It's the way that we help a lot of customers. And we help our customers in multiple areas. There is mobile strategy, there is mobile applications, and so on. We have probably built with customers more than 100 mobile applications, B2C, B2E applications. But what is common when we are building this is that we always need some type of mobile platform. As a matter of fact, every mobile enterprise application will need some type of mobile platform. So what's the issue? The issue that we have is that these mobile platforms cost a lot of money to maintain. So what we wanted to do, we understood that it's very important, is to help our customers in remove some of these objections so we can accelerate the adoption of mobility in the enterprise. Okay? So thinking about that problem, we were considering how can we actually, what are the platforms that we have, and how can we enhance, how can we modify this, how can we remove that objection? So that's the problem that we have is we need to build mobile apps, we need mobile platforms. These platforms are very costly, they're hard to maintain. So what can we do to help our customers? Before getting into that point, I would like to share with you a little bit about the vision of mobility. So there are more and more and more devices connected to the network every day. Okay? I mean, if you think about how many devices you are carrying right now versus how many you were carrying a year ago, you know that we are moving into an era where there are more and more devices. I mean, if you think about the management of these devices, what is the type of security that you need to have? What is the type of software that you have? Is the device, does it have the latest version of all the software that you need? You think, well, really the management of these devices is a problem. So I would like to have something, let's call it a platform right now, that will take care of maintaining all these devices. So when we think about the progression of this, there is a very first fundamental system that we need to have in place, and that is a mobile device management system. That mobile device management system will take care to recognize what are the assets that we have on these devices and what are the security policies that we need to have in place. Many of you have heard about bring your own device. So if any company that is adopting a bring your own device will need some type of mobile platform. And again, the ones that are already using a mobile platform, they know that it is a lot of hassle and maintaining the system costs a lot of money. So they really want help. I mean, our customers are asking us, what can you do so we can just leverage these platforms so we can concentrate into building apps? And that's where we can help. On the next piece, once we have the management of these devices, the next problem that we need to consider is how do we manage the application on these devices? After that, how do we manage the content that is inside these applications? And ultimately, what are the enterprise services that we can have around that? So going back to my problem is, how can we actually simplify all this? And of course, part of the answer is providing something as a service. I mean, many of us are familiar with that as a service, right? So thinking about that, we said, well, if we think about mobile device management systems, what is the typical price in the market for this? Before actually our offering in the market, we were thinking about $4 or $5 per device per month, which is a lot of money. If you think that you will have thousands of devices in the network, and you will be paying $5 per device per month, that's a lot of money. So we set to ourselves a target, and we said, what is that number? What is that target that we think that it will really lower the barrier of entry for people to have this system and then really embrace mobility in the way that we think that they need to embrace it? We set to ourselves a price. I mean, it's €1 on Europe, and here in North America, we're talking about $1.11 per device per month. No one has this price in the market right now, and the reality is that we were able to do that thanks to Amazon. So allow me to explain. There are three components in order to have that price. The first one is the license. And we have a great product coming from SAP. We have a partnership between these three companies, I mean, very important to mention, SAP, Capgemini, and Amazon, making this a reality. But we have great software from SAP, and the license is very well priced. So we understand that that problem we have it solved. Let's move to the next one. We need some type of infrastructure. We are using Amazon, the greatest, I would say, platform in the planet with the greatest price that we have. And you may think, well, because we are using Amazon right now, problem resolved. And the reality is that that is not the case. there is one element that we need to consider, and that is the services. So what Amazon can do really to fix this issue or to help us fix this issue? It is all about the automation that we have. So we need people in order to maintain these systems. And if you think about the life cycle of these systems, you always need to stand up an environment, you need to have the backup and restore, and you always need to deal with upgrade patches and so on. So what we have considered is using the Amazon API, what are the things that we can do in order to get to this price? And we start working backwards. As Dar mentioned, we really start thinking about what are those services? What is everything that we do? What is the life cycle of the system? And we say, well, we always have backup, we always have a restore, we always have a different point. So how can we automate all that leveraging the Amazon API? And the answer is yes. That's why actually we came to the market with this $1.11 month. Let me go into a little bit more details in that area. And let me give you a particular example. Every people that want to use these systems will need to first experiment with them. That's the way that we typically consume these days. No one is willing to just put money up front. We all just want to have some type of, can I play with the system before buy? Of course you can. We created this system where if right now you go to sapafaria.com/Capgemini, you can stand up an environment, and under 10 minutes, you just register into that system. By fully automation, we are going to stand up a goal image. We are going to create an environment from scratch, and we are going to deploy the system and make that available to do via the portal. All that is possible only because we are using Amazon and the Amazon APIs. We go into one more details into this area. And here is the entire system. I just wanted to provide a very dumb version of that system. We have the devices that we are going to manage. We have smartphones and tablets. We always have also some type of portal. So people will connect into that portal in order to start managing their devices. And then we have an administration portal. This is what the companies will use in order to set up these environments. So what are the systems that we need under this? We have two types of systems. We will have systems that are on the Amazon side, and we have some systems that are on the customer side. What we have done, we have architected this solution in two ways. There are some systems that we will need to dedicate to our customers. There are some systems that actually we can stand up and we can just share. So we can take advantage of the economy of scale. So for instance, a database is something that we can share across systems. A certificate server, a reporting server. And there are other servers, like the Afaria server, that we need to dedicate into our systems. We have automated all this. So if you think about the life cycle, we can stand up a system. We can now do all the upgrades, all the patchings. We can now back up and we can restore all the system, all by the push of a button. And again, that's why we have been able to provide all this at a great price. So this session is all about sharing experiences. You have seen now an example from mobility. You saw an example from the business information management. You saw an example from the OnePath offerings, and then you saw the complete platform, which is what we provide on top of the Amazon platform. I hope that you have enjoyed the information that we have shared today. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. So we just wrap this up real quick, and if you have any questions, you can either ask us or come up. We'll be here as long as we need to. Again, you've heard a lot about platforms, and the difference between last year and reInvent and this year is really you heard about platforms from Netflix, platforms from everybody. Everyone always asks, why did you build a platform? And the first thing we heard is, how do you go to market? Well, you don't. What we did was we focus on enterprises. We don't focus on the smaller companies, although the net effect of our platform is now we do, because we can efficiently. But the one thing we always heard from our enterprise clients, big and middle size, was that, Amazon, once they got Amazon down and they did it was wonderful, they realized it was the best shadow IT environment you can ever create. And they're terrified that it's just going to go hog wild in an enterprise, and a lot of people are going to spin up instances, forget, shut them off, and the next thing you know, have a problem. So they wanted that control, but what they really wanted was the same look and feel as if it was in their data center. But they now want to take full advantage of that consumption-based model and all the wonderful tools that are in it. So that's what we did. So this platform's an enabler. And to be honest, every client or every software developer that came to us, we haven't found a reason yet why it couldn't run on Amazon. And that's pretty powerful when you see some of the things we just talked about. SAP, right, one of the biggest monolithic software companies in the world, can run on Amazon. So can Afaria, so could all these BIM offerings. We can take a core application that everybody in the Fortune 500 uses, wrap around all these best-of-breed tools to give you flexibility, and you can spin this thing up in 15 minutes. So it's just an amazing, amazing platform that we're able to take advantage of and pass it to our customers. So with that, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming, especially at this time. And if anybody has any questions, here's the people that can answer it, or I'll try to, or just come on up and talk to us. Thank you.